when a word, a gesture, or even a silence feels directed exclusively at you, as if the universe is conspiring to highlight your deepest insecurities. You carry the weight of it for hours, days, replaying every detail, every tone, every pause in the conversation. And here's a truth few people dare to say out loud. This doesn't happen because the world is cruel. It happens because, internally, you're wounded, fragile, searching for confirmation of what you already believe about yourself. That sensitivity, that burns, that hurts, that drains you, it's a sign. A sign that something inside you is waiting to be seen, understood, and finally healed. Maybe you've recognized yourself in situations like these. That comment you can't get out of your head. That conversation you've replayed 1,000 times. That moment when you were absolutely certain it was a veiled criticism, a subtle jab, an attack disguised as normality. And you're not wrong for feeling it. Your body isn't lying to you. Your emotion isn't an unfounded exaggeration. There are real reasons behind it. And today we're going to explore together what's happening. Why you feel everything so intensely, and even more importantly, how you're going to free yourself from the weight you carry every day. This is another Headspace Talks. Let's walk together. Have you ever noticed how often you create entire stories about what people meant to say? A seemingly simple comment becomes a complex interpretation in your mind. Someone says something neutral, and you immediately search for the hidden meaning, the unspoken intention, that subtle criticism no one else noticed. This pattern doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes from something much deeper. Low self-esteem, that silent feeling whispering that you're not enough. When you carry internal insecurities about your abilities, your worth, your place in the world, external comment becomes a mirror reflecting exactly what you fear. It's as if the person is verbalizing your own fears. A critique of your work becomes proof that you're incapable. Feedback about your behavior becomes confirmation that you're inadequate. You've never said these beliefs out loud, but they live inside you, taking up space, influencing everything. Besides that, there are older wounds. Traumas, situations you lived through, experiences that left marks. These wounds are like invisible triggers. When something in the present resembles something you've suffered before, that old pain jumps from the unconscious to the conscious almost instantly. You don't choose this. Your emotional system simply recognizes the pattern and sounds the alarm. And when that alarm goes off, everything around you becomes a threat, an attack. Another confirmation that the world isn't safe for you. The truth is, you're not being overly sensitive for no reason. There are real causes. There are unresolved stories. There are parts of you still carrying fear, rejection, abandonment. And while these parts remain unseen, anything external will activate that fragility. You become a guitar string, pulled too tightly, little touch sets off a vibration that echoes for hours, days, sometimes weeks. There's also something else that makes all of this worse. When you don't have strong internal boundaries, when you can't separate what's yours from what belongs to others, you become completely vulnerable to emotional invasions. It's as if you have no protective walls around you. So when someone says something, it doesn't just pass through you, it pierces you, invades you, settles inside you as if it were absolute truth. You can't maintain healthy distance. You can't say, this is that person's opinion, but it doesn't have to be my reality. Without this ability to establish boundaries, you become at the mercy of people's words, gestures, and interpretations. It's exhausting. It's like living unprotected in a world that constantly hurts you. That inner dialogue you have with yourself is deafening, isn't it? You leave a seemingly normal conversation and your mind won't rest. It ruminates and ruminates and ruminates. Was that meant for me? Did they mean something else? Should I have responded differently? Of course, they noticed my weakness. And there you stay, alone, building castles of what-ifs and maybes in your head. This rumination is a disguised defense mechanism. You believe that if you think about the situation enough, you'll discover the truth and protect yourself next time. But what really happens is that you feed the cycle of anxiety and self-sabotage. Your thoughts naturally drift toward the negative, especially when you're already emotionally shaken. The human mind has an incredibly fertile imagination. It can help you, or in this case, work against you. You create entire stories from fragments. Someone posts something on social media and you're certain it was a jab at you, a subtle dig. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were talking about themselves, about their own experiences. But your mind has already decided that was about me. And suddenly you're hurt, irritated, frustrated, all because of a conversation that happened only inside your mind, ending in a tragic conclusion you invented. Here's the cruel paradox. No real words were spoken, but the pain is completely real. You managed to hurt yourself using nothing but your thoughts. Your own mind became the weapon. And the more you ruminate, the stronger that inner voice gets. The more authority it gains until you start believing it as if it were absolute truth. Rumination also has a physical cost. Your body responds to these thoughts as if they were real threats. Your heart rate increases, your breathing gets faster, you feel tension in your back, chest, throat. Your nervous system is constantly on high alert, ready to defend itself, ready for another rejection. This drains your energy, wears down your body, ages your mind. You spend hours in that place of repeated suffering, reliving the conversation once, twice, 10, 20 times. Each memory feels like you're living that moment of pain, rejection, and inadequacy all over again. That inner voice that should support you becomes your tormentor. It doesn't whisper compassion. It yells aggressively. I knew it. I knew you weren't enough. I knew you were weak. See, I was right all along, and you believe it because it's the most familiar voice you know. The voice you've heard since before you knew you could choose to listen to something different. To heal, you must first stop fighting yourself. That critical voice is usually borrowed from someone who criticized you in the past. From an experience that scarred you, from a society that demanded more than you could give. You internalized that voice, and now it speaks on your behalf as if it were your truth. But it isn't. It never was. Forgiveness begins with recognizing that you did the best you could with the tools you had. When you took things personally, when you ruminated, when you hurt yourself with your thoughts, you were trying to protect yourself. Your mind was doing what it knew, what it learned. It wasn't a mistake. It was survival. Self-compassion means looking at the version of yourself that suffers and saying, it's okay. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay not to know how to deal with this yet. It's not resignation. It's not weakness. It's simply allowing yourself to be human with fragilities, fears, insecurities. When you stop fighting your emotions and start welcoming them, something magical happens. They stop controlling you. The emotion you resist persists. The emotion you allow dissolves naturally because it has been fully seen and felt. Forgiving yourself is revolutionary because it interrupts the cycle of self-punishment that fuels all of this. You stop saying, why am I like this? Why am I so sensitive? Why can't I let things go? Why am I so weak? And you start saying, how can I take better care of myself? What do I need to feel safe? How can I comfort this wounded part of me? What is this sensitivity trying to teach me? This shift in perspective isn't small, it's everything. It's the difference between eternal self-blame and true liberation. Forgiving yourself also means letting go of the guilt of being sensitive. You didn't choose to be this way. Your experiences, your temperament, your brain chemistry, you didn't ask for any of it. But now that you're here, now that you've recognized the pattern, you can choose what to do with this information. You can choose to keep blaming yourself forever, or you can choose to use this understanding as the beginning of transformation. Forgiveness is always an invitation to stop carrying the weight alone. Every time you acknowledge a negative thought without fully believing it, that's a victory. Every time you let a criticism pass without ruminating for hours, that's progress. It's not glamorous. No one sees it, but it's real and it's yours. These small wins are the foundation on which you'll build a version of yourself that's stronger, more capable of handling the world without falling apart at every harsh word. Gratitude works in layers when you begin this process. First, you become grateful for the small moments when you're able to see yourself through a different lens. One day, a comment doesn't hurt as deeply as it once did, and you even smile. Wow, I did it. You didn't fall into the same hole. You paused before accepting something as truth. It may seem trivial to others, but to you, it's everything. It's evidence that you're changing. Then, gratitude expands. You begin to appreciate the people who genuinely add value, who speak to you respectfully, who build you up instead of tearing you down. Your attention drifts away from those who don't deserve so much power over you. You notice the relationships that uplift you and naturally spend more time in them. The others simply lose importance. You realize that all the energy you used to spend trying to please or decipher people who didn't value you can now be invested in genuine relationships, people who truly care. And then, Nand, this is profound, you even become grateful for the difficulties. Because you realize each one was a message calling you inward. That friend who hurt you. They revealed a wound that needed care. That comment that drained you. It exposed an insecurity asking to be seen. That humiliating situation, it taught you something about life you wouldn't have learned otherwise. Genuine gratitude doesn't deny pain. It recognizes that even pain served a purpose. It awakened you, and that kind of transformation can't be undone. You deserve to be treated well. Not because you earned it. Not because you accomplished something or met certain expectations. Simply because you exist. This is the radical truth most people never fully internalize. You don't need to earn your own respect. You don't need to earn your own love. It is your birthright. You arrived in this world deserving kindness, protection, validation. No one should have to earn the right to be loved. When you genuinely love yourself, and love here doesn't mean narcissism or arrogance. It means real care, genuine attention, and protection of your own emotions and values. You begin making different choices. You don't stay in conversations with people who hurt you for no reason. You don't accept criticism from those who've never built anything or have no standing to speak about your life. You choose who gets your energy, your time, your vulnerability. You become selective not out of arrogance, but because you finally recognize your own worth. Someone who loves themselves knows how to ask, does this person have wisdom worth sharing? Has this person achieved something I admire? Is this person speaking with the intention to help me or to hurt me? Does this person deserve space in my heart? And based on that answer, you decide whether their words deserve to occupy space in your mind, your energy, your life. Deep people who've built real things, who understand life talking to them feels like absorbing knowledge through a sponge. You learn, you grow, you expand. You absorb their stories, values, and perspectives. But someone who's never built anything, whose values don't resonate with you, someone you don't admire, why should they occupy space in your heart? Loving yourself also means allowing yourself to be wrong, imperfect, and unable to please everyone. No one pleases everyone all the time. That's not a flaw, it's humanity, and your humanity is enough. You don't need to be perfect to deserve love. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to be successful according to someone else's definition. You simply need to be you fully, vulnerably you. That is the invitation of genuine self-love. When you love yourself, you also establish the boundaries I mentioned earlier. You say no when you need to. You remove yourself from toxic situations. You end relationships that harm you. Not out of revenge or bitterness, but because you've recognized that your peace of mind is worth more than someone's approval. You realize your energy is limited and too valuable to waste on people who don't recognize it or appreciate it. Do you know the most powerful illusion your mind creates? That you're as important in everyone else's thoughts as you are in your own? That people are constantly thinking about you, judging you, talking about you, that every word you say is analyzed under a microscope, that every action of yours is dissected and criticized. The truth, although humbler, is liberating. People aren't thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. Everyone you meet is dealing with their own issues. That person you thought was judging you, They're worried about their life, their career, their relationships, their own insecurities. That person you thought made a jab at you, in a few days, they'll probably forget what they even said. You turned a passing comment into a personal drama while they moved on. While you ruminated for hours, they were thinking about something else entirely. You invested emotional energy into a situation that the other person had long forgotten. This isn't because you don't matter. It's simply how people function. We're all in our own heads, occupied with our own lives. This isn't disregard, it's perspective. It's a kind of humility that liberates. When you genuinely understand that you're not the center of the universe, that your life isn't as important in others' minds as it is in your own, you can finally breathe. You can let things go. You can recognize that the comment you carried for 3 days didn't matter nearly as much as you thought. That conversation you replayed 1,000 times. It's dust now to the other person. The world isn't watching your every move. People aren't keeping score. They're living their own lives, fighting their own battles, dealing with their own demons. And when you truly grasp this, when you stop believing the fiction that you're constantly being judged, peace emerges, lightness emerges. Because you realize most of what you feared will never happen. Most of the thoughts that keep you up at night exist only in your imagination. And yes, judgment exists. People talk, people comment. That's true. But it's also true that no one is as important as we think they are when fear is in control. It's also true that the person who judged you forgot about it the next day, while you carried it for weeks. It's also true that most criticism you receive says more about the other person than about you. They may be angry, jealous, insecure, competing with you silently, or projecting their own fears onto you. None of that is about your real worth. The present is the only place where you have power. In this exact moment, you can choose not to ruin it. Right now, you can choose to believe in yourself even if no one else does. Right now, you can choose to let go of that conversation that hurt you days ago. Right now, you can choose to put your mind on something that brings you joy instead of something that brings you suffering. You have far more power than you think. You only forgot how to access it. The past is gone. It no longer exists except in your memories, your interpretations, your stories about what it meant. The future isn't here yet. It exists only in your fantasies, your fears, your what-ifs. Only the present exists. And right now, you are safe. Right now, you are whole. Right now, you are capable. Now is the only place where magic happens. Now is the only place where real change occurs. Living in the present also means stopping the search for signs that you're not enough. It means stopping the habit of interpreting the neutral as negative. It means stopping the transformation of silence into rejection. It means simply receiving things as they come, without adding layers of meaning that don't exist. Someone stayed quiet in a conversation. Maybe they were thinking, maybe they were tired, maybe they were dealing with something personal. Not necessarily because they don't like you. Someone didn't reply to your text immediately. Maybe they were busy, maybe their phone died, maybe they were sleeping, not necessarily because they don't care about you. The journey of not taking things personally is, in truth, a journey back to yourself. It's not about ignoring people or becoming apathetic. It's not about stopping caring or turning into a stone without feelings. It's about recognizing that the only relationship that truly matters, the one that will be with you every day, in every decision, in every moment, until your last breath is the relationship you have with yourself. All other relationships matter. Yes, they have their beauty, their meaning, their place. But none of them is more fundamental than the one you cultivate within. When you know yourself deeply, when you understand where your insecurities come from, when you look at your wounds with compassion instead of judgment, something fundamental shifts. You become less dependent on external validation. Not because you stop being social, we all are, but because you stop needing others to fill holes only you can fill. You stop seeking in other people's eyes the confirmation that you exist, that you matter, that you're worthy. Self-knowledge is the foundation. It's not a luxury. It's not indulgence. It's not for people with problems. It's the basis of everything that follows. Once people discover the real power of this, mental health stops being optional. It becomes a non-negotiable priority. Because when you know yourself, you understand your patterns, you identify your wounds, you recognize where you're bleeding, and when you know that, you can always change. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is permanent. You are constantly transforming. Start with self-awareness. Truly get to know yourself. Understand yourself not through labels or diagnoses, but through genuine observation. Why do you react the way you do? Where do your fears come from? What happened in your past that shaped your sensitivity? When you start asking these questions, you'll find answers. You'll find reasons. You'll find compassion, and that compassion is the antidote to all your previous self-punishment. You are not your insecurity. You're feeling insecure for a reason, yes, but it's something that can change. You are not your fears. You're scared right now, yes, but that can change. You are not your old behaviors. You are not the role you're playing at this moment. You are infinitely more than all of that. You are the space where everything happens. You are the consciousness observing everything, and that consciousness has the power to choose differently from this moment on. The truth that will resonate with you now is simple. Taking things personally is a form of self-sabotage that only you can interrupt. It's not your fault it started. It was your wounds, your experiences, your learnings that shaped your sensitivity. But from this moment forward, responsibility is yours, not as a burden, but as an opportunity for power. Because recognizing responsibility is the same as recognizing power. And you are powerful. You always have been. When you commit to genuine self-knowledge, when you stop running from your own issues and face them head-on, when you choose to welcome instead of fight, something extraordinary happens. You don't just stop taking things personally. You stop being fragile. You become resilient. You become someone who knows who they are, someone who knows their worth, someone who doesn't need the whole world to confirm their importance because they already know it, and that kind of security is contagious. It changes how others interact with you. It creates a field of peace around you. The journey isn't easy. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns, when you ruminate again, when you feel like you're back at square one. And that's okay. It doesn't mean failure. It means you're human. It means you're learning. It means you are reshaping yourself. And every day you return, recognize the pattern, and try again. That's victory. Every time you choose compassion over self-criticism, you're voting for your own freedom. So I leave you with this deep question. If you truly knew yourself, if you had no doubt that your worth is intrinsic and independent of anyone else, if you fully believed in your own adequacy, how would the way you see the world change? How would the way people treat you change? How would your life change? Let this question breathe inside you. Let it work. Let it awaken you. And of course, if you want to keep walking with me, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here at Headspace Talks, we learn together how to turn pain into strength and silence into healing.